So I'm going to introduce our speaker. I'm very excited about her because she is the founder of the Public Speakers Association. Her her presentation title is Be Connected to Create Real Opportunities. Grow your influence with people who can create a real movement in your prospecting. Her qualifications to prove or validate her expertise is a brief little list. Globally sought after speaker, on the cover of 5 different magazines, none of which are risque, I assume. Best-selling author of 8 international books, winner of multiple national and international industry and association awards. We are in the presence of greatness. And the host of Tonya Hofman's Wow TV show. Let's give a very warm launchpad welcome to Tonya Hofman.
Hello. Hi. I know, I'm so impressive. It's amazing. So I'm here to help you, and today, for some of you, it's going to be fun. For some of you, it's going to be torture. Okay? Because it's about communication and connectivity. The problem that I see for most people is they work a job and they do their job and they know 3 or 5 people that are in the area around them, and then they lose their job and they're not connected. When you're here at the job club, it's amazing because you have a room full of now peers, friends you can build relationships with to keep an ear and eye and everything else open for you. But the only way you can do that is for them to know you. So any of you that leave here and you go back home, you just lost out on a lot of opportunities. It's about actually getting to know each other and developing the relationships to find opportunities you didn't even know was even available. So I know this is going to be a shock, but I used to be an incredible introvert. And I would be in the corner in a place like this. I'd be like in the very back in the corner. And I'd shake and just shiver and sweat if I had to stand up and say who I was. Like doing that thing a while ago, I would have been like, ah, right? I probably wouldn't have even gone up. But I knew that the people that were successful were the ones who got up and did something, the ones that people looked at, and all the crap that's in your head about what people think, it really isn't there. They're more worried about themselves than about you. So it's the same thing, going to have coffee or lunch with someone, talking to them out in the hall. Most people are thinking, what's in it for me? What's in it for me, right? They're not really thinking about you. So one of the things that you have to get really good at is thinking about what's in it for the other person. People don't like to help people if they don't feel like you're going to help them back. If you immediately go over to somebody and you ask, well, Darren, how can I help you today? You'd be like, what? Well, and he'll probably tell me something that, he's looking for. But for most people, then Darren would feel obligated to go, how could I help her back? Or you find out really quickly that that's a person you don't want to be friends with. Because there are people that are just the me people. You've met them, right? Everything's about them. So you've got to look at who can you connect with. Because Darren may be an amazing man that you're just like, oh my gosh, he's got a connection to someone that you just like, poof. But you have no idea. They say we all have 250 connections. I have 70,000. Some of my friends have 1 million. Some of my friends have 4 million. Some of my friends have sold 500 million books. You probably have some of their books. So it's great to come and get out, but you have to get really good at getting out of your comfort zone. You also have to show up the way you want people to remember you, the way you want them to refer you. Because if you don't look like you're in for the game, why would they think you're in? Why would they be concerned about helping you if you don't look like you really want to be helped? I'm being really honest because I see people all the time. I'm launching a brand new company. I need a lot of help. We're about to hire a lot of people. And a lot of people, you're like, is this the way you're going to show up to work? Right? Because there's some people here that was looking for people to hire. Did you show up today to say, I want to go work for you? Or did you show up going, I think I'll just roll out of bed and come today. I'll just go and see. You got to be fully and present in it. Because nowadays, people don't want someone who just wants a job. They want someone that wants to be involved in their organization, part of their community. Most, not all, most companies nowadays want people to be part of a community feel and not just fill a position. And you got to make sure that that community you're about to say yes to is the right community. Because you don't fit everybody and everybody doesn't fit you. So we're going to do some interactive, and this is where it gets really uncomfortable for some of you, and some of you are going to go, yay! Some activities today, because you have to get out of your comfort zone and start learning to talk to people. Okay? So y'all up for that? Yay! See, Darren is. Darren's my new friend. Okay. So there's a couple things that we're going to work on skills today so that you really walk out of here ready and prepared. Okay? Because there's some places some of you have gone or even online and you found some really cool opportunities that might not have fit you, but it was still like, wow, I wish I was that person. That would have been a really great place. Like I was on the board for the Executive Women in Texas Government. If you're looking for a government job, don't you think executive women that work in those positions would be good to know? Okay, write that down. So you don't know who has been a part of what organization. You also don't know who knows who as far as they might have left a job with a company, but they still have those connections a lot of times. So just because they don't have your position anymore doesn't mean you can't help somebody connect in that other organization. You could have been part of a chamber, a meetup group, a Eventbrite group. I went to the Austin Developers something group, gaming. They had the longest title ever. It was a really cool group. Total geek factor. It was awesome, right? So sometimes just being around the right people really helps and develops right. So what we're going to do is, in just a second, we're going to become partners. Do not pick someone you already know, okay? You do. I know y'all know each other. Don't pick each other. You got to pick somebody new. So that's the point. Got to meet someone new. We got to get control because we don't have a whole lot of time. So I got to get you back up here. So the way I do that, are you ready? We are in Texas, right? And we will look, and when it's time to stop talking, I do the coyote. Does anybody know what the coyote is? This is the coyote. The mouth is closed, the ears are open. Okay? Now you're not going to really see that because you're going to be talking. So guess what coyotes do? They howl. Oh! When I howl, that means close the mouth, open the ears. Got it? Yes. Good. I knew y'all were quick. Okay, so right now, take just a second and find a partner. Go! Tick, tock, tick, tock, tick, tock, tick, tock. Thank you. Some of y'all just love to hear yourself think. I know. Okay. All right, so now with your partner, who's going to be A, who's going to be B? Decide. All right, all the A's, raise your hand. Awesome. B's go first. That always irritates the hell out of the A's. They're like, oh, I want to be A. I know. B's are like, easier the first time around, so I'll give you a chance, okay? So, first of all, we're going to introduce ourselves, all right? You have to get to know what is that person. Be really specific. And if the person's like Blaze, it's because they don't know what you're saying because you're using acronyms, all right? So make sure the person understands what you do and what kind of job you're looking for, all right? And then we'll switch, and then Ace, it'll be your turn, okay? Sound good? All right, only 30 seconds. Maybe. All right, go. All right. Now we're going to do the next step. Now that you know each other and what you're both kind of about, now you need to know who you're connected to. So is there groups that you're a part of, associations, chambers, whatever, those kind of groups? Are you connected to maybe someone that they need to know? Maybe it's a company, maybe it's your husband, your wife, your best friend. Where do they work, right? Start thinking beyond yourself and think about all the people that are your connections. Who do you know? Yes?
Does Launchpad Job Club count?
You can mention it. It's kind of redundant. But
Question.
all right. So think through, now that you know the person, where do you think might be a good connection for them? All right? So A, you get to go first. Yay! Okay, A, go. All right, let's bring it back up here. Did y'all find someplace new maybe? Maybe a new connection? This is what you need to be doing with everybody. Okay? Get to know people, offer them how can I help them, maybe get some connections going, and then they usually want to help you back. Now here's a skill that is truly a skill that people have to learn and get comfortable with. Okay? Now there's easier ways and harder ways. All right? So this skill has made me a lot of money and a lot of incredible connections. Most people go through life without ever hearing how fabulous they are. Most people have never been told that they're fabulous, or even, that anything special about them. So when you can help somebody by just giving them a compliment, especially right when you're meeting them pretty soon after that, especially an influencer, somebody that you're wanting to not just blow air up the skirt, right? But it's about that true wow moment. Because there's something wow about somebody. Every time I meet people, I'm like, oh my gosh, really? There's probably been a couple of people. But other than those couple of people, most times people are just like, blow me away with what they know, who they know, what they've done. Even a lot of philanthropy projects or this or that or things they've done at the schools. I mean, it just goes on and on. So what we're going to do is just practice the skill. And so A is going to go first. Yay! And A, you're going to tell B something amazing about them because you just got to know them a little bit. Now, it's usually easier with women because we were like, oh my God, I love those shoes. But it could be that you were in the service. You're like, thank you for your service, right? It could, oh, nice. My Marine buddy says the same thing. When you start looking and telling people, it's a little bit harder for a guy to do it to a woman. It's very easy for women to do it to men and women, okay? It's just the facts. Guys are a little weird about telling another guy that they're fabulous. But there's ways you can say it, right? Dude, that's amazing. Whatever your terminology is. My gosh, how long were you there? That's amazing. Whatever your personality, you've got to come up with the words that fit you. And it's uncomfortable, but believe me, it can help you in so much parts of your life. I walk into HEB now, the people see me and they're like, oh my gosh, can I get you anything today? Because most of the time, again, people have never been like, wow, you've stocked that so incredible. And they remember you next time because you said something about how their stocking skills were amazing. You know?
You just recognize them as a person and not something that would go around.
Exactly. A lot of people feel invisible. I was talking to a lady one time, and she's about 72, I think she was at the time, and she goes, I feel invisible, that no one sees me. She was going to a business networking group, and people would walk right by her to go talk to other people. I found real quickly is those are the people to go talk to. They have amazing connections. Okay? So again, a little uncomfortable for some of y'all. Some of y'all are going, this is easy. So how fabulous is the other person? Tell them something that just made you go, wow, that is really cool. Okay? And then we'll switch. So eggs go first. 30 seconds, go. Ooh, y'all are getting good. Some of you are like, come on, tell me more. All right. Okay, so now we're going to do something really, really, really hard. Because we've been told our whole life, especially you ladies, this is like the hardest thing ever. Because we've been told that we shouldn't boast. But how can someone know how good you are until you boast a little bit? Okay? So we've also got to get good at talking to people and saying, yeah, I'm pretty damn good at this thingamajigger I'm good at, right? You've got to really take it up to that quickly that you're really awesome at whatever you're awesome at. So if I was going to talk to someone about me as a speaker, I'm like, yeah, I've done so many stages, I love it, I've been on this, blah, 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 tell my little more bio, you know. You might not have a bio like that, but you have a resume. But it's not even just the resume, it's what are you really good at in that position. So when you're talking to somebody, especially for a job, I don't want to just know that you're a drafter. You know, because I may think you're a drifter. You need to really understand and get me to understand what is it about drafting that you love about it. And it's got to ooze out of you. I know a lot of you don't ooze well, okay?
We're taught not to.
Exactly. You got to let it ooze out because people need to see that you stand up a little bit than somebody else. If you're being compared to 12 people and you seem the one that's excited about it, don't you think it shines a little bit more? Okay, so we're still going to get A's go first, so B's you're like, whew, okay. You're going to gloat. You're going to do the best gloating, boasting, tell that person how amazing you are. You're going to shake your tail feathers. You're going to, guys, you're peacocking, okay? Peacock those feathers. You know, you want to shine. You want that person to go, right? I want to see a lot of wow. And then we'll switch, okay? And we're only going to do it for 30 seconds, so you don't have to talk that much about yourself. I know some of you won't want to stop. It's okay. We'll have to switch, all right? Ready, set, A's, go. See? Y'all are like, no, more. I got more. Was that hard? Some of y'all are like, right? I've had presidents of companies break down and cry because they just can't talk about themselves, right? It's just incredible. So this skill, all these all together will get you to shine, will stand out. Because that's really what it is out of a whole resume on paper is just a starting point. It's you that they're wanting to hire. The resume is secondary. You are the most important person in the room. If you were going to come and talk to me about, wanting to work for me, I want to know you. I want to know what makes you tick. I want to know what you've done. That's what is more important. And a lot of times when we're talking to somebody, unfortunately, a lot of times talk to the wrong person. So we're going to talk a little bit about how to get around and get to the people who are like, hey, if Darren shows up, make sure you talk to him. He was really awesome. I met him. And if it came from someone of power in the company, do you think the HR department would be listening?
Yes.
Right. So here's some tricks into that. There's a lot of conferences, association events, industry conferences. There's so many conferences out there for your specific what you do. Are you going to them? Right? There is a conference almost every day here in Austin. You could go to and look just at what's going on at the Austin Convention Center, what's going on at the Palmer. Who is going to be there? Now, if you go to these events, I mean, some of them, several $100s, so it's an investment that's got to pay off. So if you're going to go and you're going to walk around and you're going to sit and you're going to listen to the speaker and then you're going to go and you'll look around the expo area and you don't talk to anybody, save your dollars. You've got to be clever. You've got to stand out by moving into an opportunity that they're not expecting you. So for example, there's the Women's Business Enterprise National Council. And that's short WBENC, WBENC. So it's a group of women-owned businesses that do business with the government or big business. When you go to their conferences, 50% are men. Why? All the big dogs are there, so the men are there. And the women are the CEOs. They're not there. They're running their business. So when you go to a conference like that, which are coming up, by the way, they've got one in Dallas and in Houston. Houston's oil and gas industry, Dallas is corporate, right? Makes sense. They've got them in all across the United States. When you go to those events, it's more of the procurement arena. Anybody know about procurement? Anybody looking for procurement? So procurement, hello, you should be like there, like, talk to me about WBENC. So when you go there, there's the huge expo, and Chevron is there, and Exxon is there, and you got all American Airlines, Walmart, and people are all lined up waiting to talk to the procurement person to buy their widget, right? Is that where you need to be? No. There's always somebody sitting down doing paperwork and drinking a Coke, and who's that person? You got to get clever about not talking to the worker bees and talking to the higher ups. So I would always go and just start a conversation. Wow, this is a long line. So what do you do? How can I help you? Remember that whole exercise we did about helping? Same thing. Now, I might not be able to help that person because they may need something or not even know. Most people are like, help me? What? So a lot of times there's no way for you to help, but you just stood out because you asked them if you could help them. So that person is the actual person that all those people in line need to talk to. That's the real person. It's never the person taking the applications. So everyone else is sitting there going, here's my resume, and here's what we do, and here's my packet. And they're like, thank you very much, write down your name, right? Next. You're not standing out. It has to be about standing out. Also at those types of events, you walk into the sea of people at lunch. Because all those kind of events have these little, round tables of rubber chicken. Don't go there for the food, okay? So you walk in and say there's Chevron. They bought a table. I love it when there's men at these events. Because why, ladies? Men don't sit next to each other. So there's always an empty seat. Right. So guys, sorry. But it's true, right? Guys don't like sitting next to each other. So there's always an empty seat. And when a pretty girl comes up and they're like, can I sit here? They're like, sure. Don't think just because it says Chevron that they don't want someone else to sit there, because usually they sent 2 people even though they bought a 10-person tabletop. Make sense? And guys, yes, you could come and just sit down and just not sit by, Scott. You can just sit on the next to him, right? And then you immediately open your mouth and say, hey, Scott, because everyone's got a name tag on. How can I help you? He's going to go, what? Because all those kind of events, they've been attacked all day long about how people say, me, 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 me. What's in it for me? Can you help me? Can you help me? Can you help me? And so they've never had anyone ask them, how can you help them? I've gotten some huge opportunities by just sitting next to a Scott or a John or a Joan. You've got to stand out. Yes?
It sounds like a great question, but I'm just thinking about it. Do you need to warm that up a little bit? Because sometimes, it may hear or appear that it's coming out of left field.
It totally is coming out of left field. And that's why they are shocked. Right? So I sit down, oh, can I sit with y'all? It looks like y'all are kind of empty. And they're like, sure. And you smile. Smiles are worth 90% of anything else. Hi, are you packed? I was trying to find a seat. Could I sit with you? Oh yeah, sure, go ahead. We only have 2 of us. You sit down, and then you immediately say, oh, well, tell me, and you just look at, everyone's got a name tag on. Tell me, Greg, how can I help you? And they're going to look at you like you've got an extra eyeball, because he's like, I don't know. Who are you? And he will ask you who you are. And you tell them, oh, I'm so-and-so, I do this and I do that. I'm just here kind of scoping it out and see if there's someone that I need to talk to about my position, and just briefly. You don't over-attack them, don't whip out your resume, here you go, Greg, no, right? Because as soon as people want to help. Again, there are some who don't, and then you just get up and say, oh, I think I saw my friend over there, and you go sit someplace else, right? And you start a conversation, and Greg will start a conversation with you. It happens every time. Only if you're in it for them. When they feel like you're not attacking them for something, they will open up their whole database. Greg literally opened up his database and goes, oh, here, you need to know this person, here's the VP of this, here's this person, and told me exactly in their phone numbers, and he says, I'll actually text them right now and say you're going to call them. So I got booked for a $10,000 training for one day that they flew me out to Midland. Yeah, I had to go to Midland, but okay. Right? You've got to absorb the realities of standing out and putting yourself into weird positions and situations. And sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes you sit down and they're like, what? No, we've got our team coming. Oh, okay, no problem. Okay, so scope out the room. You've got, there's thousands of people in this place to have lunch with. Again, if you sit there to eat lunch, you're losing out. You lost your money for that event. You're supposed to be there to make something happen. Because a lot of times these people also know, oh, my best friend has a job for such and such. I bet they may know who you need. And it's usually not the exact person you need to know, but they will connect you to someone who can connect you to someone who will connect you to someone. I was doing this huge training module for Boeing. Did I know Boeing? No. I knew a guy who used to work for Boeing who got me connected to, Jennifer, that connected me to Tina, who connected me to the big person who needed to make the decision. And unfortunately, the Boeing thing happened. Blah. So, some things are put in the back burner. but that's how it works. Make sense? So you've got to go to these kind of conferences, and they happen every day. Be strategic. You know, sometimes it's cheap enough for you to say yes to, because it may be way out in left field, because you just never know who's going to be there. You don't know who they're married to. You don't know who their best friend is. You don't know anything about those people. But you won't know anything unless you say something to them. So I would go and put myself into all kinds of weird places because I just don't know who's going to be there. So start thinking through if you're really wanting to find something, and not just a position, but something special, something that you're like, oh, I would really love to work there. That sounds really cool. I get Fridays off every other Friday. Hello, right? Then build relationships with people. It is about connections. I'm launching a new company called Be Connected. That's exactly what it's about. People connecting and helping each other. Because most people feel like they're out in the world alone. Because they are. They've never taken the time to connect with people and help others. And it's unfortunate. That's how I've built everything. So let's see where we're at here. Perfect. Does anybody have any questions? Because obviously I go to a lot of events. You know, because there's going to be some people that fit an event. When I'm a speaker, there's some events that I've gone to and I'm like, I don't understand these people. One was the Financial Association of Pensions Departments. They talk in acronyms I couldn't even keep up with, right? So if you are good at acronyms, that would be a perfect place for y'all, right? So you've got to find your peeps, the people that you're just going to really click with, and avoid the ones that you're like that one. I mean, literally, I was like talking to them, they were talking to me, we couldn't even understand each other. So you've got to also make sure that it's the right group for you. Eventbrite has a lot of the groups on there, and a lot of you are going to struggle because you're like, you know, I have to spend money to go to that conference. Contact them. A lot of times they'll give scholarships to go to events. Okay? So see if they have a scholarship opportunity. It doesn't hurt to ask. A lot of them have volunteer opportunities where you can volunteer to go to those conferences. A lot of times you'll be a volunteer and get to go to the green room where you get to meet these fancy speakers and all, you know, that have huge collaboration opportunities, right? So that's what I'm saying is it's like go beyond the norm, connect with each other here, and then go beyond. Where else do you know? And then start letting, so Carol will then go, oh my gosh, Darren, hey, I just found out about a conference coming up, or just found out about a group that's just getting started, or whatever. They can start building a relationship to let each other know. It's about building real relationships.